I just decided during quarantine that I wanted to go to school to be a medical esthetician. So
Yeah.
throughout that process, I was doing the research on school, I was applying, and my mom was just like, "Well, what are you doing?" Because I was like, "Hey, like, I need to kind of quiet in the house. I have an interview with the school." And she's like, "Wait, you're going back to school? Like, what's going on?" And a part of me didn't want to tell her until I was able to present it to her, like on
Yeah.
a plan. Kind of like how back when you wanted to like go somewhere with your friends on a weekend, you knew you could not come to your mom with like little bits of information. You had to come with the who,
Nah.
what, when, where, who picking us up, who's taking us. So I knew like, okay, this is what I really want to do. I need to come with her with it all like laid out.
Yeah.
And my mom was like, "What is an esthetician? So you gonna be playing on people's faces?" And I'm like, "No, I'm not just gonna be playing on people's faces." But it's just like even that she was just like, "Well, okay, I mean, if that's what you want to do, but I think you're fine with your job that you have now and things like that." And it's just like I could have took that and been like, you know what, this is dumb. I shouldn't do this. But I think once they see us pursuing what we believe in and they see like the outcome, like, oh wow, like you're really helping people or you're really doing
Mhm.
this, it's like, oh, okay, well that makes sense to them now. But they
Mhm.
didn't grow up that way. They didn't have people being fashion bloggers or making money from social media. That was
Yeah.
foreign to them. So
Yeah, and I feel like with you doing it, it shows them that they don't have to stop dreaming too. Oh no!
Yup.
They don't get it. It's okay. We get
And I was like, yes, Lord, come on with the cancellations.
Whew, we going in it. Now just kidding.
it.
I don't know if you know this, but I'm black. Am I good?
He's with the best of them, and he's one of my favorite men to cut the outside.
That entrance sounds like much more than who I actually am.
So my guest of honor hails from Mississippi by way of Austin, Texas. She has deep roots and she's the only girl out of 5 brothers in her family. She's what I like to call a fashion chameleon, meaning she has an amazing way of using the art of clothing to tell a story. She serves as a fashion blogger, content creator, and personal stylist. Her styling work has been published in 2 major fashion publications, and she hosted a social media activation with Paige Denham and Create and Cultivate during South by Southwest in 2019. She's currently in school to become a medical esthetician, and her motto is there is nothing in nature that blooms all year long, so don't expect yourself to do so either. Today, my guest of honor is Jaleesa Bacon, better known as Lisa B.
hey. Hey,
How
thank
you
you for
doing?
having me.
No problem at all. I had to get you on here because we gotta educate some people.
We do. We have a lot to catch up on with, and congratulations to you on just everything. I saw the Master P piece on YouTube and everything that you've been doing for like the community, the young people. So congrats.
Thank you so much. Thank you. Tell me, how has quarantine been going for you?
Oh, girl, quarantine has been testing, okay? But overall, I want to say quarantine has been like a blessing in disguise. Just because, like you mentioned before, everything that I do. On top of that, I'm an aunt mom
Oh,
to a very hyperactive 5-year-old and 2-year-old niece and nephews. So during the
oh,
midst of all that and working and trying to build like content, I just feel like I was always going, 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 and never had a chance to like stop and take a break. And
mhm,
quarantine gave me that break. It set me down. It allowed me to like look at what's really important, and then just kind of like break up like different systems in my life and what I really want to pursue and be intentional about.
mhm.
In the midst of quarantine, my grandmother did get COVID, so I spent majority of my summertime in Mississippi helping her just get back to better health, and just being there for her and my family. So it had its ups and downs, but overall, I came out on the other side of it good. So
Good.
can't
Yeah.
complain about it. Yeah.
You took the time to use it though. Like most people don't
Yeah.
sit down and like really be with themselves. And I think 2020 definitely was that pause button. So
Yes, it was. It's crazy because I have a 15-year-old nephew,
mhm.
and he was just talking about how like everything's going on in the world and how he just wish everything would stop. And I thought about it and I was like, this is the closest we're gonna ever get to anything ever feel like it just like stopped and paused in life.
Mhm.
It's never happened like this before. So you have to like use this time wisely. And not saying that you have to come out of here with like a new business or whatever, but like use that time just to better yourself, whatever that looks like in your day-to-day life. So
Absolutely.
yeah.
Look, that's the sad part about it. A lot of people don't want to be by themselves. And like if you learn how to be by
No.
yourself, you'll like yourself more.
A
So,
lot more. And then it gives you a chance to reset and recharge so that you are able to be there for other people. Because if you're a person that's always the go-to person for everyone else, if you're not allowing yourself that time to like take a pause and rest, you
mhm,
can't be 100% at work, at school, and your friendships, your relationships. Like you can't give your all. So
not at all.
yeah.
So you are from Mississippi and you live in
Yes,
Austin.
down in the valley.
Tell me about growing up in Mississippi because you know what? I feel like it's just a
Yeah.
different vibe down there and I love it.
It is. So we only lived in Mississippi. I lived there a total of 3 years of my life, kind of broken up. So of course I was born there, and then I left Mississippi when I was going to the first grade,
Mhm.
and then I went back there for the fourth grade, and then after that we moved to Austin permanently. But it was a very it's a culture shock. I can honestly say when we left Mississippi and moved to Texas, I was completely green on everything, culture shock. Honestly, the biggest city that I had ever visited growing up was like Shreveport, Louisiana, or like Memphis,
Wow.
Tennessee. So imagine moving to a place like Dallas or Austin. I'm like, where are we? Like, I'm thinking we're like in New York or LA or something because I'm like, what is this place? Like all these highways and everything. It was so crazy. And I would like ask people like, oh, how many, high schools do y'all have? We only had two high schools back home. And they're like, oh, it's about like 20 over here. And I'm like,
Yeah.
20? It's just the whole idea of everything was literally it's bigger in Texas. Like the high schools look like colleges to me. Like it was insane. So it did take a lot to just like kind of get immersed, being around different cultures and just different people that didn't look like me because Mississippi is very black and white and it's very segregated.
Yeah.
So I wasn't used to going to school with Asian people, Hispanic people, and just people from all different cultures and walks of life. I wasn't used to that, but I'm grateful that we did move away and I was able to get that experience. So
Yeah. And you moved to the
Mississippi,
capital.
wherever, yeah, Mississippi will ever be home. It's like I love going out there. It's like being around my people. It like gives you that little you need to go for it. But as far as living there, like no, I'm glad we moved to Texas.
Nah, I'm gonna come visit y'all. I love y'all, but I can't stay here.
Yeah, it's like I'll be here for 4th of July, some birthdays or something, but that's it.
Now that you done got
Yeah,
out here, that's so funny. You moved to the capital, and yeah,
right.
I can
Yeah, and I
imagine.
remember going to school. It was very different because, like I said, we did kind of go back 1 year and to go to school there. And I remember being in Texas, and everyone's like, "You talk so country. Why do you sound like that?" But then when I went back home to Mississippi, they're like, "You sound so proper," and it's just like,
Hmm.
well, I'm just trying to adjust.
Like,
But
what y'all want me to do?
right.
That's too funny. Well, you mentioned that you got to see a lot of different types of people, and so going to college had to be a
Mhm.
culture shock as well. Tell me a little bit
Yes.
about your background with college and how that was for you.
Yeah, so honestly, my high school was like a little miniature melting pot. It's like what I like to call UTA because I remember so I went to UTA. I started in 2008. I think you came around like that year or a
Mhm.
year later. I remember meeting you my sophomore year, and the whole thing they were pushing was like how diverse our school was. UTA is so diverse, and it really truly was.
Yeah.
From different races, cultures, backgrounds, just everything. It was very diverse. But I did get a chance to experience that in high school. I went to a
Mhm.
very diverse high school. So I grew up in Pflugerville, Texas, which is kind of like north of Austin. And I had my experience with that and it was great. I mean, I think one thing I've always was like taught is like to never judge someone based on like
Mhm.
what they look like because we're all going through different things and battling different just experiences when we go home. So mom always taught me like you be kind to people, like do not judge people, don't make fun of people. You don't know what they like are going through. So I was that kid, like I was a good student. I was involved in everything, but I talked a lot in class. So it was like, well, it don't matter where the teacher moved me. I was that girl, like I was gonna find a new friend to talk to. I don't care what you
Yep.
look like. And so I feel like that really prepared me for college because I went to UTA. I just never met a stranger. Like I would like meet people and I'm like, oh, like we should network. I was like, oh, you would be cool to meet this person. Like they have this same thing going on. So it just like really prepared me. And it was one of those things like deciding on where to go to school was hard because a lot of my family being in Mississippi, they primarily all went to HBCUs.
Yeah.
So they either went to like Alcorn State, Jackson State, Grambling, or TSU, or somewhere like that. And I was like, oh well, I'm gonna be the little different one, go to a PWI,
Yeah.
and got made fun of every holiday. Or I would hear my cousins talk about like their college experience. I'm like, dang, like I thought our little Black Wednesdays was something. I guess not.
Nah,
you
not compared to
know,
HBCUs,
compared
man.
to them. So it's one of those things. Like I'm grateful for my experience of going to UTA and like starting that journey and taking that path. But I'm not gonna lie, deep down inside, I do be like, man, I wish I would have went to HBCU or just gave it a shot. So
Yeah, that's my biggest mistake. I really honestly, I wanted to go to Clark Atlanta and I got in and
ah,
everything, but amount of money that I had to pay out of state costs, it
yes,
just wasn't
it,
I just couldn't. So I was like, dang, I'm gonna just go up here. But I mean, I feel
yeah,
like UTA was pretty good because of the
right,
diversity. So International School of Students is what I
right.
call it for
It
sure.
definitely was, but I agree with you because my school of choice was Spelman. Couldn't
Hmm.
tell me no different. And I remember even being like, "Mom, we don't know nobody in your family. I can use their address,"
Right.
like trying to figure out our way around it. But I think that just goes to show like what you're doing is so important because there are kids who have similar experiences that's like, man, I do want to go out of state to this black school, or I want to go to any school in general,
Hmm.
and they just don't know the resources, don't have the financial means to go there or know
Yep.
that there are opportunities available for you to be able to afford to go there and not feel like you have to give up and like either stay at home or pick your second best school of choice.
Yeah.
So
I say go where you want to go. At the end of the day, you might be in debt. At least be in debt if you're gonna, go to where you want to go. 'Cause you be in
okay,
debt.
at least be
So
proud to pay Sally Mae her money back
I
because
mean,
you had a
seriously.
good college experience. Because I'd be like, girl, can we get a discount? Because it wasn't all that.
It wasn't
But I
all that.
mean, going to school in DFW, where we're like in the middle of the metroplex.
Yeah.
So it's like if we want to go football game, okay, go to SMU, go to TCU. If you want to go experience like some like be around your people, Paul Quinn's up the street. Even though
Yep.
Texas A&M Commerce isn't considered a HBCU, it's a lot of us out there. So
That's
it
an
was like
HBCU.
ways of it's a HBCU. Yeah, they need to
Yeah.
go to make it official. But and then it's like we can make drops to Houston, go to Waco, to Baylor. So I feel like we made it our own being
Yeah.
there.
And I feel like everybody that I met at UTA, honestly, our group is so tight knit, I feel.
Yes,
We still are pretty connected, even though we don't see each other all the time or talk all the time. We definitely keep up with each other. So
exactly.
that's what I love about UTA. They did a great job. Like we did a great job connecting with everybody. So
Right. It was like a big old family.
hmm
It was like we might not always get along, we might fuss, we might fight, we might not agree on everything, but when we go to another school or go somewhere outside of campus, we are one. Like we
yes.
stick together. Yeah.
So what did you study at UTA?
So at UTA, I studied kinesiology, and then I changed my major to university studies,
Hmm.
and a minor African American studies.
Okay.
Yeah.
What made you switch?
Honestly, just figuring out what my passion was at that time. I would say like around my sophomore and junior year is when I started doing like event coordination with like different organizations I was part of, like BSA, NACWC. And just like we were hosting fashion shows and doing different like modeling things. And I was like, man, I'm really okay. I never knew that like you could go far in fashion because that's not
Hmm.
something that you're brought up being taught. It's like you're gonna be a teacher, a lawyer, a doctor. It's just like kind of like those kind of careers.
Hmm.
And I remember we did a fashion show at the Art Institute in Dallas, and I was talking to one of the advisors there, and they were just like, "Well, yeah, in fashion you can do fashion merchandising and just these different things." And it opened my eyes, like, "Wow, like okay, this seems like something I want to pursue." So I remember coming back to school, meeting my advisor, and I was like, "Do we have a fashion program?" She was like, "No, we only have interior design." And
Wow.
I was like, "What?" Like you talking about something like it just hurt my heart. I was like, "That's it?
That's
That's
it.
all?" And so it made it hard going back into like those kines classes where I'm like, I don't really want to do this anymore. This is what I'm passionate about. So then it made it hard to be dedicated, right? Like going to
Hmm.
class, doing the work. It's like this isn't what I want to do anymore. So we basically just came together with a plan. And I was like, what can I do to graduate, basically? Like where I won't
Yeah.
lose all my credits. So I wanted to start all the way over. Like, what can I do? And so that's what made me switch to that track. And then that's when the African American Studies department was brought.
Hmm.
And then they were able to have a minor. So it just like completely changed. Because when we were there, like the first 2-3 years, we didn't have that program.
Not at
It
all.
came later on.
Yeah, it definitely wasn't there, but I'm glad that it came when it did. So
Yes, for
it
sure.
it definitely helped a lot of us like find ourselves, our actual selves, to
Okay.
get the exposure that we needed to our culture a little bit. So being around
Right.
our people. Tell me where the love of fashion comes from though. Like what is it about fashion for you?
Yeah, fashion, honestly, the love of it comes from my family, from my mom, my aunt, my grandmother. Being from the South, I grew up Southern Baptist, so
Mhm.
church was it.
Yeah.
Church was like where you go see all your friends, where you worship together, but it was also like a mini fashion show. And I remember literally putting on my Sunday's best, like being told. And it's just like those moments I think what helped develop that love for fashion is how I would like just be like amazed and like, wow, like look how good my mom and grandma and aunt look getting dressed. And not that they didn't look good during the week, but it's like they're in the hustle bustle, like they're working to try and get us ready for school. But Sunday was like kind of like that day where it's just like, wow, like okay, black women, I see you, like you got it. And it's just like the little lessons I learned during those experiences of getting ready with my grandma, like learning how to put on stockings the right way, learning how like if you do get a run in your stockings, this is how you fix it. Or my aunt like going on a trip, she was a traveling nurse. So she would like bring me clothes back or like necklaces, and she would be like so excited to give me these things. And it's just like from there, it like birthed. I remember my mom was telling me this story, and I didn't even remember. But when I told her I wanted to get into blogging, she's like, "I remember you used to take magazines, like Jet, Ebony magazines, and you would cut them up, and you would like take the pictures you like and put them on construction paper, and you would walk around our apartment complex trying to sell them to people. And you like, this is my
Wow.
fashion magazine." And I was like, "I did that." She was like, "Yes." You would just walk around. She's like, "You were 6 years old, and we'll be knocking on these people's doors, and they will call me like, hey, your daughter's walking around selling this stuff. We gave her like $5 or whatever." But I'm like, wow, I didn't even know that. Like, I didn't even remember that I did stuff like that. So it
That's
definitely was
crazy.
something that just like it just continued to like build and build and build.
That's so crazy because look, we have no idea. Our parents know all the juice. They know everything.
All the tea, and they be holding it back from us.
Yeah. Be like, we want our kid to be a doctor, so we ain't gonna tell
Right.
them.
We just don't. But I also think it comes from them not knowing as well and them knowing
Mhm.
like what we're going up against. And I think at the end of the day, it's like they just want us to be happy.
Yeah.
But their ideal of like happiness is stability.
Yeah,
And
definitely.
so anything that doesn't look like that's going to be stable for my child kind of scares them. And then they project those fears onto us.
Yeah.
And so you have to learn how like that balance of like, yes, I want to make my parents happy and things like that, but you have to make yourself happy. Like when
Mhm.
you get to college or anything in life, if you're doing it for someone else, that fire is gonna burn out. That flame is gonna go after a certain point because it's gonna be
Absolutely.
difficult. It's gonna be hard, and you need to lean on like this is what I want to do. Not I'm doing it for and this person. Not saying that that's not bad, but it has to be for you to continue to push and have that driving force to make it happen.
So true. So true. Cause yeah, I can't even say nothing else to that. That is absolutely true.
Yeah.
What would you
And it's
say?
a lesson, we have to learn it the hard way sometimes, but it's
It
definitely a lesson.
definitely is. It's definitely a lesson because you know you do want to please your parents. Like, I mean,
Yep.
innately that's what you want to do, but with
Mhm.
us millennials, like I'm sure we give our parents the blues because it's like, I don't
Okay.
like this job, I'm leaving.
Yeah, and they
Like,
like, "You not need to leave that job. You ain't been there but a year. You need to stick it out." It's like, "Nah,
nah,
I don't." And it's
nah.
crazy that you said it because I know, even with me recently, I just decided during quarantine that I want to go to school to be a medical esthetician. So
Yeah.
throughout that process, I was doing the research on school. I was applying, and my mom was just like, "Well, what are you doing?" Because I was like, "Hey, like, I need to kind of quiet in the house. I have an interview with the school." And she's like, "Wait, you're going back to school? Like, what's going on?" And a part of me didn't want to tell her until I was able to present it to her, like on
Yeah.
a plan. Kind of like how back when you wanted to like go somewhere with your friends on a weekend, you knew you could not come to your mom with like little bits of information. You had to come with the
Nah.
who, what, when, where, who picking us up, who's taking us. So I knew like, okay, this is what I really want to do. I need to come with her with it all like laid out.
Yeah.
And my mom was like, "What is an esthetician? So you gonna be playing on people's faces?" And I'm like, "No, I'm not just gonna be playing on people's faces." But it's just like even that she was just like, "Well, okay, I mean, if that's what you want to do, but I think you're fine with your job that you have now and things like that." And it's just like I could have took that and been like, you know what, this is dumb. I shouldn't do this. But I think once they see us pursuing what we believe in and they see like the outcome, like, oh wow, like you're really helping people or you're really doing
Mhm.
this, it's like, oh, okay, well that makes sense to them now. But they didn't
Mhm.
grow up that way. They didn't have people being fashion bloggers or making money from social media. That was
Yeah.
foreign to them. So
Yeah. And I feel like with you doing it, it shows them that they don't have to stop dreaming too. Like, I
Yes.
honestly believe that we help our parents with that because they did grow up in that time where it's like work in a factory, like go be a
Or
teacher.
teach. Yep.
Yeah, there's no razzle dazzle. For us,
Right.
we grew up in the middle
Exactly.
where it was the internet and it wasn't the internet. So it's like
Yes.
we know what's due because we have both sides. So yes.
Right.
Tell me a little bit more about the medical esthetician. Let them know what that is.
Yeah, so basically, it's basically skincare. But through esthetician school, I'm gonna learn how to do waxing, lashes, makeup application. They really give you all the tools you need, honestly, to pass like your board testing. But then from there, you can get further education on the ideas that you want to pursue. So for me personally, I want to get into like clean beauty, and skincare. Eventually, I want to have like my own skincare products. And just basically make a stance in the skincare and beauty community for Black women. I feel like now we are seeing more and more Black brands and brands that are for us when it comes to skincare and makeup. But
Yeah.
I feel like it's still not enough. Like I feel like we're just dropping a what is it, a pebble in like a puddle. Like
Yeah.
it's still like a huge demand, and also because Black people are monolithic. So just because this is that Black brand does not mean that all Black people are going to gravitate towards that brand.
Yep.
And I just remember what made me really get into skincare was I've always had pretty like normal sensitive skin. But about 3 years ago, I was going through like a traumatic experience. It was very traumatic, like stressful, and it started to affect my skin. And I woke up one morning and like literally had like white spots all over my face.
Wow.
And I was like, what is this? Like, I've never experienced anything like it. I called my mom because that's like the first person you call.
Yeah.
I'm like, sending her a picture. She was like, I don't know what that is. Um, and so going to like dermatologists and different doctors that didn't look like me, they
Hmm.
didn't get it as well. The treatment that they were giving me was making it worse. And it wasn't until I found like a Black esthetician that helped me. And she was like, so basically the products that you're using is burning your skin. Not physically like where you feel heat, but over time you're drying your skin out and it's burning it and it's causing you to have these blotchy spots and hyperpigmentation, but it's also coming from stress and the things that you're eating because of the areas that you're breaking out in. And I'm like, oh, so this is like deep, deep. Like this isn't just
Wow.
like something that's like on like literally the surface level of your skin. This is something that's going on mentally and all throughout your body. And from there, it just like really sparked my interest into like making sure I'm not just buying beauty products because of the packaging or because it's cute or because this person's endorsing it, but actually look into the ingredients, seeing like, okay, is this going to benefit my skin or is it going to harm my skin? And I feel
Yeah.
like a lot of us don't get that information, and a lot of Black people, we can't afford to take care of our skin growing up. It's
Yeah.
not really a thing. Like, it's like if you have acne, you just got acne. Like, we don't have the resources to like go to a dermatologist or go to a esthetician to get facials done every 2 weeks, you know? So I want to just like be there to like provide those resources and definitely like help others.
Yeah, that's beautiful. First of all, like I love the fact
Thank
that
you.
you're gonna like go into something that you literally went through yourself. Um,
Hmm.
and I believe that representation is so important.
Yes.
So the fact that you found someone that looks like us that could tell you the truth and not just give you
Okay.
stuff just like to get you out the door, like that's
Hmm.
amazing. And you're right, there aren't enough products on the shelf for us, and some of them
Yeah.
aren't owned by us. They're just like,
There we go. It's just it's our face on it, but it's not owned by us. And
yeah.
I think one thing that I love about the esthetician that I chose to go to, she's a Black esthetician in Austin,
Hmm.
and she became my mentor once. And what's crazy is like, you know how we kind of have that fear. I feel like in our community, like if we want to pursue something that someone else is already pursuing, of like kind of approaching them about it because you don't know if they're gonna like kind of like gatekeep that information or be like, you got to figure it out on your own.
Yeah.
But again, I don't meet no stranger and I don't hold back. So I was just like, hey, I kind of want to talk to you about something I've been thinking about now that I have this free time, like going back to school for, becoming an esthetician. And like, what do you think about that? Like, can you help me, lead me in the right direction? And she was like so excited to help me and was just like, you're gonna do great in it, like your mission, like the purpose behind it.
Hmm.
Anything you need, like let me know. And by the time I like, walked out of her studio, she sent me emails of basically like a business plan, schools to look into, scholarships, like any resource I can think of. And she's literally been holding me accountable. Like she was like, first things first, get enrolled in school. I got
Yep.
enrolled in school. She's like, okay, when you start your first week, we're gonna have a meeting after that. So it's just like having someone that's already in that field, but also is passionate about helping me. And it's another Black woman I can look up to. It's like that's nothing but God.
Yeah.
Like I couldn't have asked for that. Like that was nothing but God helping me do that. So
And confirmation at that.
yes, for sure.
Definitely confirmation. Like, I feel like regardless of if you feel like they're gonna tell you the information or not, your passion has to let you ask. Because
Mhm.
closed mouths do not get fed, and you have to
Okay.
ask. Because they might be willing to help you and they might not. So it's like
Right.
if they say
And
no,
even
it's cool.
if right, and that's the thing. If they say no, you're not losing nothing.
Mm-mm.
Right? You
Nope.
still have the opportunity to go find that information out on your own. And yeah, just because she gave me like I feel like the tools or the resources, I still had to do my own research and choose the right school for me that fit
Mm-hmm.
me, you know? But I think a lot of times when you're pursuing something that you're passionate about, when people tell us no or they don't welcome us in, it can be hurtful to your dream or like just what you want to pursue because you're like, well, dang, like no one's willing to help me. But there
Yeah,
are people willing to help you. You just have to find your tribe.
absolutely. Definitely have to find your tribe for sure. Well, I feel like you definitely found your tribe and you have a whole group of friends that you definitely surround yourself with. So I wanted to ask you, what are your 5 non-negotiables when it comes to like your friend group?
Yeah. I think it's awesome. My friends, we all pursue some of the same kind of things. We're all like creative. Some of us are entrepreneurs, some of us working corporate. So I have people from all walks of life. But I think my 5 non-negotiables when it comes to friendship is respect,
Mhm.
respecting each other's boundaries, knowing when like, okay, this person's like this is like we're not non-negotiable. We're not going past this boundary line with them, knowing that like they need to take rest and break from the group.
Mhm.
Just because the group is going this way doesn't mean that person wants to do this. And just respecting whatever boundaries they have.
Yeah.
I think that's like one thing growing up was like a struggle because you'll see people kind of like pull back and that could be perceived as like, oh, you're acting funny or you don't want to be around us. It's like, no, like that's a boundary for that person. And
Yeah.
we gotta respect that. That doesn't make that person like fake or they don't want to be our friend anymore, but just respect their boundaries and their space. I think they have to have a love for God. I'm sorry.
Absolutely.
That's like something I cannot compromise on because I need some praying people around me. Okay.
Yes.
Um, I think just being kind to one another, caring about each other, having that love there and that trust and loyalty. I have friends that don't live in DFW. I have friends in Austin that live in different states. And we might not communicate every day, but
Mhm.
when we see each other, when we get on the phone, it's like we never miss a beat. And
Yeah.
it all comes from respect, from understanding each other's boundaries, understanding that, like, hey, this person might have a kid or they might have other things going on in their life. They can't text and talk all the time, but
Yeah.
that doesn't change our bond that we built in that time that we put into our friendship. And so I know for sure if I'm ever in need, they're gonna be there. I remember I sent like a group message once I found out my grandma was sick and was like, just letting y'all know this is like hard for me right now. I'm not gonna be able to like be really present on like social media. I might not respond to messages or phone calls all the time, but I am gonna see them. I do like, you know, encourage me, send me that like prayers and things like that. But if I don't respond, like don't charge my heart.
Yeah.
And the way that they just like surrounded me and I felt like their prayers, I felt their encouragement like daily. And I was able to really just be like that anchor for my mom during that time. Cause it's like, that's
Yeah.
my grandma, that's my best friend, but that's her mom, you
That's our
know?
mom. Yep.
So it's like, we both can't be emotional. Like,
Yeah.
one of us has to be kind of like more like headstrong and like trying to see like the end of it. And there was times where I wanted to cry and I just was like, I can't, like, I gotta be there for her. And I knew I was able to get through that by having people behind me that was praying for me and encouraging me and like, you got this, your grandma's gonna be okay, like, she's gonna be fine.
Yeah.
So
I'm
definitely be
glad.
there for your friends.
Yeah. I'm glad that she's getting better and recovering.
Yes.
Because this thing out here is wilding. I needed to go away.
Definitely, definitely. She's 91 years old.
Wow.
Before COVID, she was living by herself, driving, taking care of herself. And yeah, she got it, and she was in the hospital for like 3.5 months.
Mhm.
During that time, she wasn't walking.
Mhm.
So she lost like the strength in her legs, and so that's what we had to help her like build up.
Yeah.
And just kind of like step in and be there for her, which is like being a caretaker. It's not easy
It's not. It's
at
not.
all. You don't know what you're gonna get with, especially with someone who's used to being independent and I used to having like people trying to like do everything for them.
Yeah.
So it's definitely an adjustment, but she made it through. So
Yeah, it's definitely not easy when you're somebody who's super independent because they're like, I got it,
yes,
I got it. No, Granny, let me help you. Let me help you.
right.
Boy, our
So
grannies. Our grannies. Tell me what is one of the most pivotal moments for you when it comes to just transitioning and becoming the person that you are today?
I would have to say the pivotal moment came when I really just started living my life for me.
Mhm.
I know it sounds like cliche, but I think there wasn't really a point in time where I was really doing everything I did for myself.
Mhm.
I feel like going to college was like, well, I'm going to college because I want to make my family happy and make them proud, and that's what you're supposed to do, right? And then leaving college, it was like, all right, now I gotta start working. I gotta find me a good job, and but never did I ever feel like at every aspect in my life I was doing it for Jaleesa and making Jaleesa happy. And it wasn't until like I started to make that step that I feel like everything changed.
Yeah.
Like everything that was like in God's plan for me was happening. Because I think before then I was forcing things that He didn't want for me.
Yeah.
And things weren't working out and I was still trying to force them to make it happen. And He was just like, ma'am, no. Like,
Right. He'll reel
so
you
let
in.
me right. So it would literally became him being like, all right, so I need to get you alone
Mhm.
so we can have some quality time. Cause right now you're distracted. So he started pulling people out of my life, pulling things out of my life, pulling jobs, literally everything started being pulled away from me. And at first I was like, what is happening? Like, what am I doing right? But it's just like these things aren't serving you.
Right.
And through it, you're not serving me. And you're not happy. You're miserable. You're doing this for what? And I was able to really just be like, all right, I need to start living my life for myself. So what does that look like? How can I be intentional to make those steps? So it's like, okay, I moved back home to Austin for a couple of years. Um, helped out my family, helped out my mom. Um, and I was like, you know what? If I'm really gonna do this fashion stuff and this styling stuff, I need to start taking it seriously.
Mhm.
And really putting myself out there. Like, what is the fear? Like, what am I being so afraid of? Because I know that I have the qualities in me. I know I can do it, but what's holding me back? And I learned that through just like prayer, spending time alone, going to therapy. All those things helped me make this transition to be who I am today. And it's still like I'm still transitioning. I'm
Oh
still
yeah.
growing each and every day. But
Yeah.
it's like the vision is more clear because I know my purpose. I know why I'm passionate about what I'm passionate behind.
Yeah. And that time alone will definitely help you sharpen that passion because you have nothing
Yes.
to no vices, no nothing to distract you. So he had to get you in seclusion.
Yeah, he definitely did because it's like God wants to hear from us. He wants that relationship with us. He wants us to call on him not only in times of trouble. And I feel like a lot of times that's what I was doing.
Mhm.
And it was like, but like call on him when you're happy. Call on him just to say, like thank you.
Thank
Or,
you. Yep.
just like throughout your day. Cause it's like for us to make it and be here during this quarantine through everything, it's a major, major, major blessing. And we can't take
Absolutely.
any minute for granted.
You can't because this thing is invisible and you're still here. So I feel like there's no reason why you shouldn't be chasing after everything that you want.
Right.
So
Right.
you have no time to waste. But anywho, people
But
just
that's
don't.
a story for another day.
That's a story for another day, for real. I'm like, man, I have no time to waste. Just do it. Just do it.
Yeah.
So I want to ask you, do you think that well, you kind of answered that already, but I'm gonna ask you anyway. Do you think
Okay.
that your purpose is a journey or a destination?
I think my purpose is a journey.
Yeah.
And I would say because I really think my purpose is to help people.
Hmm.
Plain and simple.
Yeah.
I think what's happened in the past like 4 or 5 years is that the people of the world and the social media have taken the word purpose and made it something that has to be connected to like monetary value
Yep.
or like you give something to get something back. And I don't think that that's the purpose and like the spiritual gift God gave to us. I truly
Right.
think my purpose is to help people. So when I was working in retail, I was helping people,
Hmm.
you know? And to other people, I remember, like I said, I have friends from all walks of life. I have friends as therapists, doctors, nurses,
Yep.
lawyers. And I was like sometimes saying to myself, like, man, like I'm not doing anything really to help people because I don't have a job like that. Like
Right.
putting their jobs like on pedestals, but it's like but I am helping people, because I'm helping them come in, prepare for job interviews. I'm helping people help them when they're getting back on their feet and they're trying to get like a scholarship, or I'm helping them get dressed for their wedding or a party. It's like I'm helping them present their best selves and show up as their
Yeah,
best selves. And through that, we're talking, we're having a conversation. I'm encouraging them, right? So that's me helping them. When I
yep,
start to do my esthetician journey, like I'm going to be helping people take care of their skin and educate them on what they need to do to help take care of their body. So it's like in every aspect of my life is to help somebody else. So that can be like a destination. Yeah, the road might change. I might grow out of some things, but it's gonna be an ever going thing.
absolutely. I completely agree.
Yeah.
Tell me how you define success and happiness.
Oh, that's a good one. Well, I would say I define happiness by having everlasting joy
hmm
in whatever it is that you're doing in life, or just in life in general. I feel like happiness can sometimes be like a temporary emotion. It's like, oh yeah, that
Absolutely.
one thing made me happy. But I feel like having like true success and joy in something is when that can be taken away from you.
Yeah,
It's like, um, yeah, this road might be hard, right? But I know on the other side of this is going to be great reward and great benefit.
yep.
So I have joy in knowing that I just need to keep going,
hmm
because that success is right there. And I think success doesn't look the same for everyone.
No,
Um, it just doesn't. And once you're able to like sit with that and get comfortable with that, you are just running your race and your marathon, and you're focusing and staying in your lane. And
absolutely.
that's all you can do. And you find success in that.
I agree. For me, success is just starting. Having the idea and actually
Yes,
initiating is for me, that's success. So, well,
I
my
love that.
yeah, I'm like, you can't lose. You just gotta
Yeah.
start. Gotta
It's
start.
like you just gotta do it.
hmm
And do it when it's like just start. Just start by starting. It's never gonna be the right time. Cause that
Never.
was always my thing when I first started blogging. I was like, I need to do research. I need to go to all these like seminars and classes and hear people talk about like how they like got all this like followers and how they were able to get all these in like sponsorship. But if I'm not really actually ready to start, I'm wasting time, I'm wasting money, I'm wasting resources, because I'm doing all that to do what?
Yeah.
Chase someone else's idea of a success,
Yep.
you know?
And you'll
So it's
never be
like just
happy.
start by starting. That's all you can do. And if it works out, cool. If it don't, at least you can say that you tried. But you don't want
Exactly.
to like keep waiting to start, and now you're seeing other ideas that you have been executed and you like, well dang, like I want to do that. But you didn't start. That person
Right.
started. So you can't even be mad at it.
Like they'd be like, I had the idea for Uber, but you didn't do it.
But you
So
didn't do it though. So go and get your Uber or your Lyft.
and pay them, pay them their money, please. That's so funny.
Right.
T- uh,
Right.
really quick, plug your blog and everything really quick so they can know how to find you.
Yes. So right now on social media, you can find me at XO_Lesa B, and it's LESAB. Right now, the website is coming. I'm working on my landing page actually today. So website, everything's coming soon. I'm going through a whole rebranding. Since I got like 50, 11 jobs and things,
That's
I
all
need
right.
all of it to be clear on there.
That's all right.
But yeah, you can reach out to me for any like personal styling services, or I do event coordination as well. So it's jalisa.a.bacon@gmail.com.
There you go. Yes, it's
Yes.
okay to do multiple things. We have multiple gifts, so
You're right. I'm multi
yes,
hyphenated.
absolutely, absolutely.
That's
So
what UTA prepared us for.
I mean, for real though, they
Because
prepared us for
everybody we
that.
went to school with got like 12 jobs.
We got 12 jobs. Are we working something? We gonna be successful. We gonna get
Right.
it. We gonna
Exactly.
get it going. So my last question for you is: if you knew then what you know now, would you change anything?
Mm. I say I would.
Yeah.
Yeah, I say I would. I say if I knew that in order to be successful, and to really accomplish my goals, I had to like put myself first and focus on me and cut out certain distractions, set boundaries with certain people, work on my time management.
hmm
Yeah, I would. It definitely would have been better.
Yeah.
But I think I learned it on later on in life, and it's okay. I've grown from those experiences. I forgave myself for who I was then, and I moved forward. But it's like I can't really change the path that it took to get me here. I
Yeah,
just can do my part each day by not making those same mistakes and learning from those lessons. And just helping others. Like where I see people's making the same mistakes as me, just offering that advice or that help if it's, wanted or needed. And just to help people, be better and be successful and be better than them.
absolutely. I actually have one more bonus question for you. Could you
Yeah.
tell us a little bit about the Baddie Brunch? Tell us about all of your events that you've been working on so far.
Yeah, so the walkathon was actually my best friend idea, Davier, Styles by Davi. She's a braider in the DFW area, and she wanted to bring young, like-minded individuals together who are just starting their business, just making their mark in the beauty and hair world in Dallas. The opportunity to grow and get brand exposure and have resources available to them. Because when she moved from Austin and made the transition here, she saw how hard it was, like being a braider in an oversaturated market.
Yeah,
So the Lockathon basically gives everyone that experience that they need. So we bring the community together. We're all in one venue. So you have braiders, hairstylists, makeup artists, henna artists, waist beads, nail
everything.
techs, like literally everything. It's a one-stop shop. And we give them that exposure that they need to help build their clientele and just get their brand naming out there. And just by helping give them the resources. So this time around, we shot with Alex J. Martin, who's a videographer and photographer in the DFW area, and we gave them that chance on camera to basically do like an elevator pitch, like tell us about your brand, tell us who you are, and just what Black excellence means to you and being a part of this event.
Yeah.
So each and every time it gets bigger and better. So if you are a hairstylist, a makeup artist, if you do anything in the beauty, fashion, hair world, hit me up. We would love to have you be a part of the next event. And as far as Baddie Brunch, that is Sydney Chandler. She's the, like, we call her the godmother of Baddie Brunch, but she started to bring women together to just network and to grow together and share our experiences and just uplift one another. So the Betty Brunch started. This will be the fifth year anniversary, I think, as of today, actually.
Wow.
So go follow at Betty Brunch. Follow at Sydney Chandler, the Chandler Concept. She throws so many like cool events across the DFW, from like the Betty Ball, the Midnight Ball, the Southern Classic. And then follow Styles by Davi to get more information about the Lockathon.
That's awesome. Yeah, I had to ask that. I
Yeah.
was like, wait a minute, we gotta plug all of that.
Yes, they are some bomb women. I'm happy to call them friends and to just like learn and grow from them. So I do like all the event coordination, like the backside, like dealing with all the operational stuff, the vendors and things like that. So that way that they're able to just go out there and shine and do what they need
Yeah,
to do and not be stressed throughout the day.
yes. Well, I'm gonna have to call you too. We'll have to call you
Yes.
for sure. But yes,
Yes, I'm so down.
I'm so proud of you. Like, I'm
Thank
so proud of you.
you.
Like, it's crazy because like seeing everybody from college, like, we all was babies then. So
Yeah.
everybody like so grown now, but I really am very proud of you, and I hope that you will continue to like let your light shine extremely bright, um, so that everybody can see who you are and like know that you are God's child. You know what I'm saying? So I
Thank
had to
you
get you on
so much.
here.
I truly, truly appreciate it. I don't take this opportunity for granted. Like I said at the beginning of the podcast, like I'm really just like amazed at all that you've done, that you continue to do. And you're defying the odds. Like you're not letting nobody stop you. You are going for it. And that's definitely like encouraging and motivating to see. And if anybody can say they saw it from the ground up, it is you. I remember just having class with you in college, and you definitely. I remember there was times like you just spoke life into me, and I don't think that you knew that you were doing it, but it was like giving me that push that I needed at times where
Wow.
I felt like I was just like, I don't know what to do. I don't know what's going on, and you always came in with a smile. You were always kind, and just very, like I said, encouraging. And it didn't matter that we didn't know each other and we just had class with each other. Every time I saw you on campus, you was like, "Hey, what's up? Like, you good? You need anything?" So just continue being that person, continue doing what you're doing to help. And in any way I can help you, in any way, any platform, just let me know.
Oh, thank you. I received that.
Yes.
I definitely didn't know that I was doing that at all, but That's really God. It was God doing that for you.
Yes.
Um,
Yes.
yes, I receive all of that.
Yeah, definitely. This is my first podcast, so
Is
I'm
it?
excited. Yeah.
Look at that. That's what's up. Well, welcome to the Level Up with Coach K podcast then.
Thank you. Thanks
All
for
right.
having me.
No problem.
Bye.
Bye bye.